Imagine a shadow creeping across the ancient world, a force so relentless it topples mighty empires in the blink of an eye. Cities burn, kings fall, and civilizations crumble, all at the hands of enigmatic invaders from the sea. Who were they? Where did they come from? And why did they vanish as suddenly as they appeared? Welcome to Unexplained History, where we unravel the mystery of the Sea Peoples. This is Tom McKenzie, and you are listening to Unexplained History. If you are enjoying this show, make sure to subscribe on all major platforms like Apple, Spotify, and Spreaker. And if you want more unexplained content, swing by our website at unexplained.co. Now, let's dive into the heart of this ancient enigma, a puzzle that has baffled historians for centuries. Picture the Bronze Age world around 1200 BCE, a tapestry of grand empires stretching from the sun-baked sands of Egypt to the rugged hills of Anatolia. The Hittites rule with iron fists, their chariots thundering across battlefields. Mycenaean Greece boasts towering palaces where kings feast on wine and olives under starlit skies. Trade routes buzz with merchants carrying bronze, amber, and spices, a golden era of prosperity. But then, something changes. Whispers spread like wildfire, raiders from the sea, faceless and fierce, descending upon coastal cities with no warning. They come in waves, their ships slicing through the Mediterranean like daggers in the dark. Ugarit, a thriving port in Syria, falls first, its walls breached, its people scattered. Archaeologists later unearth charred ruins, silent witnesses to the horror. Imagine the chaos, screams echoing through smoke-filled streets, the clang of bronze swords, the acrid smell of burning timber. Who are these invaders? Egyptian pharaohs call them the Sea Peoples, a loose alliance of tribes with names like the Sherden, the Peliset, the Denian. But their origins, shrouded in mystery. The attacks escalate, fast and furious. The mighty Hittite Empire, once unassailable, crumbles under relentless assaults. Their capital, Hattusa, reduced to ashes. In Greece, Mycenaean strongholds like Pylos and Tiryns are sacked, their linear bead tablets hinting at desperate preparations. Watchers on the coast, ships approaching. Feel the terror gripping the land, farmers abandoning fields, refugees fleeing inland, empires teetering on the brink. Yet, the Sea Peoples leave no homeland behind, no written chronicles of their own. They appear in historical records abruptly, like ghosts materializing from the mist, wreaking havoc, then vanishing. Egyptian inscriptions from Ramses III's temple at Medinet Habu depict epic battles. Invaders with feathered helmets, wielding javelins and swords, their ships adorned with bird head prows. The pharaoh claims victory, but at what cost? The world after is forever changed. The Bronze Age collapses, ushering in a dark age of forgotten knowledge. But the puzzle deepens. Where did they come from? Some theorize drought or earthquakes drove them from distant islands, perhaps Sardinia, Sicily, or even the Aegean itself. Others whisper of a massive migration, a chain reaction of displacement. The eerie silence in the archaeological record haunts us still. No clear graves, no originating settlements, just echoes of destruction. Imagine standing amid the ruins of a fallen city, the wind carrying faint cries of the past. What drove these maritime warriors to such fury? Were they pirates, refugees, or something more sinister? Their sudden emergence and disappearance tease the imagination. a force capable of toppling civilizations, yet leaving barely a trace. The Mediterranean, once a cradle of culture, becomes a graveyard of empires. Suspense builds with every unanswered question. Did they integrate into conquered lands, like the Philistines in Canaan? Or did they simply dissolve into history's fog? The mystery persists, a shadowy enigma that challenges our understanding of the ancient world, reminding us how fragile even the mightiest societies can be. The Sea Peoples remain one of history's greatest riddles. A sudden storm that reshaped the ancient world and vanished without explanation. But to truly grasp this mystery, we must journey back in time. Next, we will travel back to the specific era to set the scene and explore the world they invaded. Welcome back, listeners. In this segment, we're stepping into the ancient world, a time of grandeur and connection that few can imagine today. Picture the late Bronze Age, around 1300 to 1200 BCE, when empires stretched across the eastern Mediterranean like threads in a vast tapestry. It was an era of prosperity, but one teetering on the edge. Let's dive in with our storyteller. Imagine yourself standing on the sun-baked shores of the eastern Mediterranean. The year is roughly 1300 BCE. The air is thick with the scent of olive groves and salty sea spray, mingling with the distant aroma of spices carried on merchant ships from far-off lands. This is the Late Bronze Age, a golden era of interconnected empires and city-states where trade routes pulse like veins, carrying tin from the distant west, copper from Cyprus, and luxurious goods like lapis lazuli from Afghanistan. Palace economies dominate, with kings and scribes meticulously recording shipments on clay tablets in scripts like Linear B or cuneiform. In Mycenaean Greece, mighty fortresses rise on hilltops, places like Mycenae itself, with its lion gate guarding treasures of gold masks and intricate frescoes depicting warriors in boar tusk helmets. The palaces are hives of activity, artisans hammering bronze weapons, weavers dyeing fabrics in vibrant purples from murex shells, and charioteers training for battles that seem more ceremonial than dire in this time of relative peace. To the east, the Hittite Empire sprawls across Anatolia, its capital Hattusa, a marvel of stone walls and temples dedicated to storm gods. Hittite kings forge alliances through royal marriages and diplomatic letters, written on clay, sealed with cylinder seals, and carried by envoys across mountains and plains. Feel the psychological weight of this sophistication. A farmer in a Hittite village knows his grain feeds not just his family, but distant allies, bound by treaties etched in Akkadian. Further south, Egypt under pharaohs like Ramesses II stands as the pinnacle of stability and wealth. The Nile's floods bring abundance, temples to Amun-Ra gleam with gold, and obelisks pierce the sky. Egyptian scribes correspond with vassals in the Levant, city-states like Byblos, Ugarit, and Tyre, thriving ports where Phoenician traders haggle over cedar wood, wine, and glass beads. These cities are cosmopolitan hubs. Hear the babel of languages, the clink of silver ingots, the laughter of sailors sharing tales from Crete to Canaan. Alliances hold the fragile order. Egypt and the Hittites clash at Kadesh, but peace follows, sealing bonds with intermarriages and tribute. This world feels eternal, doesn't it? The prosperity lulls you into security. Grand banquets in palatial halls lit by oil lamps where diplomats toast to mutual benefit. Yet, beneath the surface, it's a delicate web, reliant on seasonal rains, safe sea voyages, and the loyalty of far-flung vassals. Inhabitants live with a subtle undercurrent of awe and fragility, knowing their gods demand rituals to maintain cosmic order, and one bad harvest or disrupted trade route could unravel it all. Sensory details immerse you. The warm Mediterranean breeze carrying whispers of myths, the taste of figs and honeyed wine, the sight of painted ships gliding into harbors under a blazing sun. This is a network of highly developed cultures where knowledge of astronomy, medicine, and metallurgy flows freely, fostering innovation and art that rivals any age. But stability is an illusion. As we'll soon see, shadows are gathering on the horizon. What a vivid picture of a world on the brink. This era of connections and wealth sets the stage for the chaos to come. But how did it all begin to crumble? Stay with us as we move into the first major event of the timeline, the signs of strain and the initial disruptions. You're listening to Unexplained History. Welcome back to Unexplained History. We've set the stage with the thriving world of the late Bronze Age. But now, imagine the first cracks appearing in that grand facade. Whispers of unrest, subtle at first, that would soon erupt into chaos. Let's dive into how the incident began, around 1200 BCE, as the ancient world started to unravel. Picture the sun-drenched shores of the Mediterranean, where the air once hummed with the bustle of merchants and the clang of bronze smiths. It's around 1200 BCE, and the first signs are barely noticeable. A trade ship delayed by unusual storms, a caravan from the east arriving empty-handed. In the grand palaces of Mycenae, the kings still feast, unaware that the threads of their empire are fraying. But season by season, the subtle disruptions multiply. Autumn brings fewer harvests. The granaries, once overflowing, echo with emptiness. Farmers whisper of parched fields, their voices laced with confusion. Why have the rains forsaken us? In the Hittite heartlands of Anatolia, diplomats notice the silence from distant allies. Letters etched on clay tablets go unanswered. Trade routes that once pulsed with life now lie dormant, choked by unseen threats. As winter sets in, the first real omens appear. Smoke rises on the horizon, not from hearth fires, but from the burning ruins of outlying villages. In Mycenae, the palace guards report strange raids, swift and merciless, leaving behind charred walls and the acrid scent of destruction. The air grows thick with ash, stinging the eyes and throats of those who flee. Families huddle in the shadows of cyclopean walls, their faces etched with fear. What gods have we angered? The mighty Hittite Empire, once a colossus straddling the lands from the Euphrates to the Aegean, begins to crumble like dry clay. Season after season, vassal states rebel, their oaths dissolving in the face of famine and invasion. The capital, Hattusa, hears rumors of approaching hordes, shadowy figures from the north, their motives as mysterious as the darkening skies. By 1180 BCE, the deterioration accelerates. Cities like Ugarit, hubs of scribal wisdom and bustling ports, fall silent. Archaeological layers reveal sudden abandonment. Pottery shattered mid-use, homes left with meals uneaten, as if the inhabitants vanished into the ether. The sensory chaos is palpable. The crackle of flames consuming timber roofs, the cries of children echoing through emptying streets, the metallic tang of blood on the wind. In the palaces of Pylos and Tyrans, Mycenaean lords watch their world disintegrate. Fires rage through opulent halls, devouring frescoes of heroic deeds, leaving only scorched earth and buried ash. Society unravels in confusion. Priests beseech the gods with desperate offerings, merchants hoard what little remains, and warriors sharpen blades against an enemy they cannot name. Was it drought? Invasion? Internal strife? The people on the ground feel only the mounting dread, a societal vertigo as empires that stood for centuries teeter on the brink. These were not cataclysmic explosions, but a slow, insidious build, like a fever gripping the body politic. Trade interruptions cascade into economic paralysis. One burned city begets refugees who strain the next. Emotions run raw. Confusion turns to panic. Alliances fracture under suspicion. By 1150 BCE, the signals are no longer subtle. They are a roar of collapse echoing through the ruins. The air thickens with dust from fallen walls, the seas grow empty of ships, and the once vibrant world dims into uncertainty. Yet, in this unraveling, the true mystery deepens. What unseen force ignited this chain of devastation? The subtle cracks have widened into chasms, setting the stage for total upheaval. But as the collapse gains momentum, what forces drove it to escalate? Join us next as we explore the escalation of this enigmatic event in the late Bronze Age. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Unexplained History. We've touched on the initial sparks of chaos in the Bronze Age, but now things escalate into something truly bewildering. Picture a world unraveling at the seams, besieged by shadows from the sea. This is the era of high strangeness, the peak of the Sea People's onslaught. Let's dive in. Imagine the Nile's calm waters turning to a frenzy of alarm. It's around 1177 to 1150 BCE, and Egypt, the unshakable empire, feels the ground tremble. Carved into the towering walls of Medinet Habu, the temple of Pharaoh Ramesses III, are inscriptions that scream of invasion. Not just any invasion, a relentless storm of maritime raiders known only as the Sea Peoples. These weren't isolated skirmishes. No, they were a chaotic wave crashing against civilization itself. Cities burned, kingdoms crumbled, and panic spread like wildfire through the ancient world. The air thick with smoke, the screams of the fleeing echoing over crashing waves. This was a siege on a scale that defied comprehension. The Egyptian records paint a vivid, terrifying picture. Fast-moving ships slicing through the Mediterranean, laden with warriors from distant, unnamed lands. They struck key cities with precision and fury. Hattusa, the Hittite capital, reduced to ash. Ugarit, a thriving port silenced in a night of fire and blood. The Sea Peoples. They appeared suddenly, a confederation of diverse groups: Peliset, Jeker, Shekelesh, Denyen, Weshesh, names etched in stone, yet their origins shrouded in mystery. Were they refugees driven by famine? Conquerors fueled by greed? Or something more inexplicable, like ghosts rising from the deep? Their attacks were not mere raids. They were a blitzkrieg of destruction, toppling trade routes, shattering alliances, leaving societies in utter confusion. Kings clutched their thrones as reports flooded in, fleets on the horizon, arrows raining like a plague, the clash of bronze echoing through the night. Feel the tension in the air, the acrid scent of burning cedar from sacked temples, the desperate cries of merchants as their livelihoods vanished into the sea. Egypt's own battles, immortalized at Medinet Habu, describe epic clashes. Ramesses III's forces clashing with these invaders in a desperate stand. Chariots thundered across the sands, ships grappled in bloody naval melees, and the Nile ran red. Yet even in victory, the pharaoh's words betray an undercurrent of fear. These sea peoples were no ordinary foe. They came from nowhere, united in their diversity, vanishing as quickly as they appeared, leaving historians to puzzle over their enigma. The world felt under siege, societies gripped by paranoia, wondering if the next wave would be the last. Cities fortified their walls, but the chaos was inescapable, a whirlwind of devastation that reshaped the ancient map forever. What a whirlwind of mystery and mayhem! The Sea Peoples brought an era to its knees, their origins still a puzzle wrapped in the sands of time. But who were the pivotal players in this drama? Stay with us as we uncover the key figures involved in the next segment. Welcome back, listeners. In the shadowy annals of ancient history, mysteries don't unravel themselves. They're pieced together by the bold and the brilliant. Today, in The Players, we step into the lives of the key figures who shaped the enigma of the Sea Peoples. From a defiant pharaoh carving his victories into stone, to a 19th century scholar unearthing forgotten names, and the enigmatic tribes themselves, warriors from the waves. Let's meet the cast of this ancient drama. Imagine the scorching sands of ancient Egypt, where the Nile whispers secrets to those who rule. Enter Ramesses III, the warrior pharaoh, his skin bronzed by the relentless sun, his eyes fierce with the fire of 1,000 battles. Reigning in the 12th century BCE, he wasn't just a king, he was a bulwark against chaos. At Medinet Habu, his grand temple complex, Ramesses immortalized his triumphs in vivid inscriptions and reliefs. Picture the walls alive with carvings, chariots thundering, arrows flying, as Egyptian forces clash with invaders from the sea. Ramesses boasted of repelling these marauders, declaring himself the savior of Egypt. His words echo through time. I overthrew those who came from their isles in the midst of the sea. But beneath his bravado, there's a hint of desperation. The Bronze Age world was crumbling, and Ramesses stood at the precipice. He wasn't merely recording history, he was scripting his legacy, a testament to resilience amid apocalypse. Now, Fast forward to the dusty archives of 19th century Europe, where curiosity unearths the past. Meet Gaston Maspero, the French Egyptologist with a scholar's keen gaze and an adventurer's spirit. Born in 1846, Maspero was a man possessed by the riddles of antiquity. He pored over ancient texts, his fingers tracing hieroglyphs under flickering lamplight. It was Maspero who first coined the term Sea Peoples in 1881, drawing from Ramesses inscriptions to name the mysterious invaders. Imagine him in Cairo's museums, surrounded by relics, piecing together fragments of a lost era. Maspero popularized the concept, transforming vague references into a historical phenomenon. His work sparked debates that rage even today. Was it migration, invasion, or something more sinister? Through his eyes, the Sea Peoples leaped from stone to scholarly tomes, becoming legends in the modern world. But who were these Sea Peoples? Egyptian texts name them, shadowy groups from distant shores. First, the Sherden, fierce warriors, perhaps from Sardinia, clad in horned helmets, wielding deadly swords. Theories paint them as pirates or mercenaries, raiding coasts with relentless fury. Then the Peliset, often linked to the biblical Philistines, settlers in Canaan with advanced iron weapons and a thirst for conquest. Imagine their ships slicing through waves, families aboard, seeking new lands amid famine and strife. The Shekelesh, possibly from Sicily, enigmatic raiders whose origins blur in myth. The Danaan, tied to the Danaans of Greek lore, perhaps Homer's heroes displaced by turmoil. Checker, coastal marauders from Anatolia, cunning and bold. And the Weshesh, the most mysterious, vanishing into history's fog, their homeland unknown. These weren't mere barbarians. They were survivors, driven by collapse, their stories woven into the fabric of a dying age. Each group, a portrait of desperation and defiance, painted in the blood of forgotten wars. From pharaohs to scholars, warriors to wanderers, these players bring the Sea People's mystery into sharp focus. But what did the authorities uncover? Next, we delve into the official investigation, where facts meet the fog of time. Stay tuned. Welcome back, listeners. We've just explored the shadowy figures at the heart of this ancient enigma, the Sea Peoples themselves. But what does the official record say? In this segment, we dive into the official report, examining how ancient Egypt documented their clashes with these invaders. It's a tale etched in stone, pieced together by scholars across millennia. Let's uncover the procedural backbone of this historical mystery. Imagine the grand halls of an Egyptian temple, walls lined with hieroglyphs that stretch like silent witnesses to forgotten battles. Dust motes dance in the faint light, filtering through narrow slits, and the air carries the dry scent of aged stone and incense long burned away. Here, in the temple of Medinet Habu, Ramesses III inscribed his version of events, a methodical chronicle of triumph over chaos. These are not mere stories. They are the official reports of an empire under siege. The inscriptions portray the Sea Peoples as a confederation of foreign invaders, arriving from the north in waves of ships and chariots. Ramesses describes them with a procedural precision. They came from the midst of the sea. their hearts full of rage, trusting in their weapons. In his records, the pharaoh details the battles, the clash at the Nile Delta in year 8 of his reign, where Egyptian archers and infantry repelled the horde. The tone is victorious, almost bureaucratic, listing captives taken, enemies slain, as if tallying grains in a storehouse. Yet, beneath this orderly facade, the fragmentary nature of the evidence whispers of deeper uncertainties. The inscriptions glorify Ramesses, but they reveal little about the invaders' origins or motives. Modern scholars, acting as detectives in this ancient case, have sifted through these records like forensic experts at a crime scene. They cross-reference the Egyptian texts with archaeological findings from across the Mediterranean. Picture the excavation sites, sun-baked earth cracking under the archaeologist's trowel, revealing layers of ash and ruin. Cities like Ugarit in Syria burned to the ground around 1200 BCE, their walls charred, homes abandoned in haste. The sensory details evoke a scene of sudden devastation. The acrid smell of smoke lingering in the soil, pottery shards scattered like broken promises. Trade routes, once bustling with bronze and tin, show interruptions. Population declines evident in the thinning settlement layers. In Anatolia, Hattusa, the Hittite capital, lies in ruins, its fortifications breached, archives of clay tablets shattered. These findings support the Egyptian inscriptions, painting a picture of widespread collapse. But the evidence is fragmentary, a puzzle with missing pieces. Were the Sea Peoples the sole culprits or symptoms of a larger systemic failure? The procedural reports from Ramesses offer a sober foundation, yet they juxtapose against the incomplete digs, leaving emotions of intrigue and frustration in the minds of historians. Delving deeper, the atmosphere in these scholarly pursuits feels like a quiet library at midnight, pages turning with deliberate care, lamplight casting long shadows over maps of ancient migrations. Emotions run a gamut from the thrill of discovery to the dry disappointment of dead ends. Ramesses' texts describe the Sea Peoples as Peliset, Jeker, Shekelesh, Denyen, and Weshesh, names that echo like suspects in a lineup. Portrayed as barbaric raiders, they are shown in reliefs with feathered headdresses and horned helmets, their ships sleek and menacing on the waves. Archaeological corroboration comes from sites like Enkomi in Cyprus, where destruction layers align with the timeline, trade goods from afar suddenly vanishing. Population shifts are inferred from skeletal remains and pollen analysis, hinting at famines or migrations that fueled the invasions. This methodical investigation, blending ancient propaganda with modern science, underscores the mystery's factual core, a backbone of evidence that is solid, yet splintered, inviting endless interpretation. Fascinating stuff. The official records and digs give us a glimpse into the chaos, but questions remain. Was it all as straightforward as Ramesses claimed? Up next, we explore the skeptical theories, where we challenge the narrative and consider alternative explanations for the Sea People's enigma. Stay tuned. We've just delved into the shadowy details of the ancient investigations surrounding the Sea Peoples. But before we venture into the realm of the paranormal, let's ground ourselves in reason. What if these marauders weren't mythical invaders, but products of a crumbling world? Join me as we examine the rational eye on this Bronze Age catastrophe. Over to our narrator for a sharp, analytical deep dive. Imagine the late Bronze Age Mediterranean, a tapestry of thriving empires now fraying at the edges. The air thick with dust from parched fields, the relentless sun beating down on cracked earth where crops once flourished. This is the scene painted by one leading skeptical theory: climate collapse. Scientists point to paleoclimatic data, tree rings, pollen samples, and ice cores that reveal a prolonged period of drought around 1200 BCE. Temperatures rose, rainfall plummeted, leading to widespread famine. In this harsh reality, desperate populations from the Aegean and beyond became refugees, migrating en masse by sea. They weren't conquerors by choice, but survivors driven by hunger, their boats laden with families, rather than just warriors. Egyptian records of sea peoples raiding for food and land align with this. It's not invasion for glory, but a wave of human desperation crashing against weakening civilizations. The atmosphere is one of quiet panic. Villages emptying, horizons filled with sails of the displaced, the scent of smoke from abandoned hearths lingering in the dry wind. This theory explains the sudden, widespread collapse as a domino effect. Famine weakens economies, sparks internal unrest, and invites opportunistic migrations. Shifting our gaze to the waves themselves, another rational explanation emerges: pirate confederations. Picture shadowy fleets slicing through misty seas at dawn, their oars dipping silently into the water, crews hardened by years of raiding. Historians argue that the Sea Peoples were not a unified ethnic group, but a loose alliance of naval raiders, skilled sailors from diverse backgrounds, perhaps Mycenaeans, Sardinians, or Sicilians, who exploited the era's chaos. Archaeological evidence, like advanced shipbuilding techniques found in shipwrecks, supports their prowess as mariners. In a time when palace economies faltered, these pirates thrived on plunder, attacking vulnerable coastal cities. The emotion here is one of cunning opportunism. The thrill of the hunt mixed with the bitterness of a world in decline. Egyptian inscriptions describe their coordinated assaults, suggesting a confederation born of necessity, not destiny. This view frames them as symptoms of systemic trade disruptions, where piracy filled the void left by collapsing merchant networks, accelerating the downfall of empires like the Hittites and Mycenaeans. The sensory details evoke creaking timbers, the salty spray of the sea, and the distant cries of alarmed sentinels spotting enemy sails. Delving deeper, consider the displaced elites turned warbands. Envision grand palaces crumbling, their marble halls echoing with the footsteps of fleeing nobility. As centralized palace economies failed, due to over-reliance on bureaucracy and trade, the warrior classes, once loyal to kings, became roving warbands. Evidence from Linear B tablets shows administrative breakdowns, with resources dwindling. These elites, skilled in chariot warfare and seamanship, formed nomadic groups seeking new territories. The atmosphere is charged with betrayal and ambition, the metallic tang of drawn swords, the dust of ruined citadels settling like a shroud. This theory posits that internal failures created these sea peoples, who then preyed on their former allies, explaining the targeted destruction of key sites. Emotions run high. loss of status fueling vengeful raids, a sharp contrast to the ordered world they once knew. Now, let's not overlook sudden environmental catastrophes. Feel the ground shudder violently as earthquakes rip through the land, followed by towering tsunamis swallowing coastal settlements in foaming fury. Geological studies confirm seismic activity around this period, with evidence of destroyed sites like Ugarit showing quake damage before burning. These disasters could have caused rapid societal breakdown, displacing populations and creating the sea peoples as refugees or opportunists. The sensory overload is intense. The roar of collapsing buildings, the acrid smoke of fires ignited by tremors, the terror of survivors fleeing to the sea. Scientifically, this ties into plate tectonics, with the region's volatility amplifying existing stresses. Finally, the overarching notion that the sea peoples were more symptom than cause. Systemic failures, economic interdependence, overextension, and social inequalities made civilizations fragile. Evidence from widespread abandonment of sites suggests internal collapse preceded any invasions. In this analytical lens, the invaders are a footnote to a larger tragedy, their arrival merely hastening an inevitable end. The emotion is one of poignant irony, mighty empires unraveling from within, the sea bringing not just foes, but the echo of their own demise. These scientific theories offer a grounded explanation for the enigma of the sea peoples, painting them as products of environmental and societal pressures rather than mysterious hordes. But what if there's more to it? Something beyond the rational. Stay tuned as we explore the paranormal theories that suggest otherworldly forces at play. You won't want to miss this. We've just explored the skeptical side, the rational explanations for the sea people's rampage through ancient history. But what if there's more to it? What if the shadows of the past hide forces beyond our understanding? Join me as we venture into the unknown, where history blurs with the paranormal. Let's hear from our storyteller on the eerie possibilities that keep historians up at night. Imagine the Mediterranean Sea at twilight, waves whispering secrets to the wind-swept shores. It's the late Bronze Age, and mighty empires stand tall. Egypt, Mycenaean, the Hittites, their cities gleaming like jewels under the sun. But then, from the depths, they come. The sea peoples. Not as mere raiders, but as harbingers of something unearthly. Their sudden appearance defies logic. No gradual buildup, no traceable origins. Could they be survivors of a lost civilization, like the fabled Atlantis, swallowed by cataclysmic waves and spat back out as vengeful spirits? The air grows thick with mystery, the scent of salt, and forgotten storms lingering in the ruins they left behind. Picture the chaos. Bronze swords clashing under a blood-red sky, as if the gods themselves had torn the heavens. Some whisper of paranormal forces at play, unseen powers orchestrating societal collapse. What if the earthquakes and famines weren't natural, but supernatural cataclysms, misinterpreted by terrified scribes? Ancient texts speak of people from the sea, with otherworldly prowess, their ships slicing through waves like phantoms. Perhaps they were a mysterious naval confederation bound by ancient conspiracies, descendants of forgotten races wielding knowledge from beyond the stars. Feel the chill, the eerie silence after their disappearance, as if they vanished into the fog of time, leaving only echoes of dread and wonder. Delve deeper into the enigma, the petroglyphs and inscriptions that hint at more than human invaders. Were they shapeshifters from myth or explorers from parallel realms? The atmosphere thickens with possibility, the damp stone of collapsed palaces, the faint cries carried on the breeze. High mystery perspectives invite us to question, what if their raids were part of a greater design? A cosmic reset, erasing empires to pave way for new eras. Open your mind to the fringe, the paranormal threads weaving through history's tapestry. In this shadowy realm, the Sea Peoples aren't just warriors, they're enigmas, challenging us to embrace the unknown. Those chilling possibilities leave us pondering the true nature of the Sea Peoples, forces that might transcend our earthly explanations. But how has this mystery shaped cultures through the ages? Stay with us as we explore the cultural legacy of these enigmatic invaders in the next segment. As we step back from the swirling chaos of ancient invasions and crumbling empires, it's time to reflect on what remains. The Sea Peoples didn't just vanish into the mists of history, they left echoes that resonate even now. Join me as we explore the lasting legacy of this enigmatic force and the late Bronze Age collapse that reshaped the world. Imagine standing amid the ruins of a once mighty citadel, the wind whispering through cracked stone walls, carrying the faint scent of salt from a distant sea. This is the aftermath of the Sea Peoples, a shadow that lingers over the annals of history, transforming the vibrant tapestry of the late Bronze Age into the muted hues of the Greek Dark Ages. Today, their story is not confined to dusty scrolls or forgotten tombs. It lives on, woven into the fabric of modern memory, a testament to human resilience and fragility. In scholarly circles, the Sea Peoples are a puzzle that continues to intrigue. Historians pore over Egyptian inscriptions like those at Medinet Habu, debating the origins of these mysterious raiders. Were they refugees fleeing famine and earthquakes, or opportunistic warriors exploiting a weakening world? Archaeological digs across the Mediterranean unearth pottery shards and bronze weapons, each piece a clue in an ongoing detective story. These findings remind us of the sudden collapse, palaces burned, trade routes severed, writing itself nearly lost in the ensuing darkness. Yet, from this void emerged something new, the Iron Age, with its democratized tools and the seeds of classical Greece. The Sea Peoples, in their disruption, inadvertently cleared the stage for Homer's epics and the philosophies that would shape Western thought. Beyond academia, their legacy pulses in popular culture, igniting imaginations across books, films, and documentaries. Picture curling up with a novel where shadowy invaders storm ancient shores, their ships cutting through fog-shrouded waves like ghosts from a forgotten era. Authors like Eric Klein in 1177 BC, the year civilization collapsed, bring the drama to life, blending facts with the thrill of what-ifs. Documentaries on channels like History or National Geographic recreate the battles, with dramatic reenactments of pharaohs clashing against these seafaring hordes, the clash of swords echoing through time. Even in fiction, from fantasy sagas to video games, echoes of the sea peoples appear, nomadic warriors toppling empires, symbolizing chaos and change. Feel the weight of this mystery as it captivates enthusiasts worldwide. Online forums buzz with theories, from climate change as the true culprit to extraterrestrial interventions, each post a spark in the fire of curiosity. Museums display artifacts, a helmet with peculiar horns, a carved relief of bound captives, drawing crowds who stand in quiet awe, pondering the lives behind these relics. The Sea People's story resonates because it mirrors our own vulnerabilities. In an age of global migrations driven by war, climate, and economic upheaval, their tale warns of societal fragility. One domino falls, a drought, a quake, and empires crumble, populations shift, cultures blend or clash. Reflect on the emotions stirred by this legacy, a melancholic admiration for lost grandeur, mixed with hope in renewal. The Greek Dark Ages, born from this collapse, were not utter blackness, but a gestation period. Oral traditions flourished in the silence, birthing myths of heroes and gods that would illuminate the world anew. Today, as we face our own uncertainties, pandemics, conflicts, environmental shifts, the Sea Peoples remind us that collapse is not the end, but a pivot. Their migrations highlight humanity's adaptability, how displaced peoples can forge new identities, enriching the cultural mosaic. Archaeological pursuits continue to unveil layers of this enigma. Sites like Ugarit, with its charred archives, speak of sudden doom, while DNA studies trace genetic footprints across regions, suggesting blends of Aegean, Anatolian, and European bloodlines. This ongoing quest keeps the flame alive, drawing historians, adventurers, and dreamers into its orbit. In essence, the Sea Peoples are more than invaders. They are a metaphor for transformation. Their shadow over the Bronze Age's fall teaches enduring lessons. Empires rise and fall on the tides of change, and from the ashes, new stories emerge. As the sun sets on these reflections, one can't help but feel a quiet reverence for the past's whispers, urging us to heed the fragility of our own world. The legacy of the Sea Peoples endures, a haunting reminder of history's turning points. But as we wrap up these reflections, it's time to draw our investigation to a close. Stay with us for the conclusion, where we'll tie together the threads of this ancient mystery. As we draw this episode to a close, let's linger a moment on the shadows that history casts. What really happened in that forgotten conflict, where a devastating force emerged from nowhere? Join me in these final thoughts as we ponder the enigmas that refuse to fade. In the annals of history, some stories cling to us like mist on an ancient battlefield. Picture it, the air thick with tension, soldiers locked in a brutal conflict, when suddenly a mysterious field descends. not a field of grass or grain, but an ethereal veil, a devastating force that warps reality itself. It appears without warning, swallowing armies whole, bending the laws of nature, and then, as quickly as it came, it vanishes. Was this force a cause of the chaos, igniting the flames of war, or merely a symptom of deeper fractures in the world we think we know? The survivors whispered of lights dancing in the sky, of shadows that moved with unnatural grace. The ground trembled not from artillery, but from something otherworldly. Historians pore over faded documents, piecing together fragments of testimony, but the core mystery endures. How could such a power manifest and then dissolve into the ether? We reflect on this not just as a tale of conflict, but as a mirror to our own limitations. History is not a straight path. It's a labyrinth, riddled with dead ends and illusions. What does this reveal about us? That we are but wanderers in a vast, unknowable expanse, grasping at truths that slip through our fingers like sand. Imagine the soldier's fear, the acrid smell of gunpowder mingling with an inexplicable ozone tang, the cries echoing into a void that answers with silence. This mystery field wasn't just a battlefield anomaly, it was a philosophical rupture, challenging our understanding of cause and effect. Were these events orchestrated by hidden hands, or were they random eruptions from the fabric of existence? As we philosophize, we see history not as a record of facts, but as a tapestry woven with threads of the inexplicable. Our knowledge has limits, vast oceans of ignorance surrounding the islands of what we comprehend. Lingering questions haunt us. Did this force alter the course of the war? Or was it a harbinger of greater mysteries yet to unfold? In the quiet aftermath, as the dust settles and the echoes fade, we are left to wonder about the nature of secrets lost to time. History teaches us humility, reminding us that some truths may forever elude our grasp. Perhaps this devastating force was a glimpse into realms beyond our perception, a reminder that the universe holds enigmas we are not meant to solve. Or maybe it was simply a trick of the light, a collective hallucination born of fear and desperation. But deep down, in the philosophical core of our being, we can't help but ask, what if history itself is the greatest mystery? A veil hiding secrets that, once lifted, would unravel everything we hold true. What forgotten forces lurk in the fields of our past, waiting to appear and vanish once more? That concludes our investigation into this mystery. I'm Tom McKenzie. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave us a review. And remember to visit unexplained.co for the photos we discussed today. Until next time, keep looking for the truth.